but I can't call myself like, Tulsi triceps or something. Like I had to stick with like beer biceps. One uncle had taken me out for lunch and he just said, let's go out for lunch. And then over the course of the lunch, I realized that he's trying to convince me to not do YouTube. I used to watch a lot of content in college, lots of American fitness channels, European fitness channels. And I always thought कि यार India में किसी को करना चाहिए ये सब. Like that was always my thought.
When I started liking and loving people on the web who are content creators, and that's exactly a new profession on the block, thanks to some really, really cool content creators that we have. This is one person that I have really enjoyed watching. Also because he's sympathetic, empathetic, and a fabulous talker. So welcoming Beer Biceps. Also, Ranveer, people like you, like I said, you, Prajakta Kohli, Bhuvan Bam has made content creating and the content creator's job. I'm not calling you an influencer yet. You are an influencer, but in a very nice way. You're also a content creator, which is way more creative than an influencer. You have made it a regular thing. Like आजकल के parents would be okay if somebody comes and tells that मम्मी पापा मुझे content creator बनना है. How do you see that? Because it wasn't available when we were kids, of course.
Yeah. 100%. In fact, even when I was starting out, my parents actually didn't understand what I was doing. There was a lot of backlash I had to face at home. But when I look back at that phase, I'm like, okay, maybe this was the suffering I had to endure so that, future generations of, I sound like an old person, but the future of like this social media in this country is easier. I feel the money and all that is just going to increase. So even if you're like the smallest content creator, but you have the capability of creating videos, of creating podcasts, of even writing, lots of money to be made, lots of growth to be had, and you can grow in any direction. Plus, the media industry, as bad a name as it has with the previous generation, this generation, the people inside, like Nandeep, yourself, I would also vouch for it. It's a lot of good people, there's a lot of good people out there in the media industry who are collaborative, who want to grow together. So I think it's a great time for a kid to enter, and I'm just happy I was a part of that change. That's all.
Absolutely, but like you said that you had to convince your parents because they didn't have a clue about what you were getting into. How did you convince, and what were the kind of opinions that you had to face from not just from your parents, from your relatives? Because relatives is a bad word, I think, in most of our dictionaries.
Yeah, even family friends. I remember when I was starting out, no one understood what I did. So this one uncle had taken me out for lunch. And he just said, let's go out for lunch. And then over the course of the lunch, I realized that he's trying to convince me to not do YouTube. And he was telling me, and this is like after we had crossed 1,000, 2,000 subscribers, which is quite a big number for 2015. And he told me about a finance course and how he really thinks I should be doing it. And, just forget all this time pass and all. And today when I meet him, we remember that conversation. He takes photos of me, shows it to his kids. And so it's like it feels nice, but at the same time, that time it was a little hard for sure. But as long as you're able to explain your business plan on paper and somehow ask your parents for a couple of years to establish yourself and then work really hard in those 2 years, you'll be fine.
How did you convince your parents? Like, what did you tell them? Because I think your parents are, of course, one of those who are supportive. Like, I will vouch for it because this happened to me also when, one of my father's friends, I was a science student, I was a good student, and I wanted to do journalism because I genuinely was having a knack for it, and I was writing for a paper in Calcutta. So I wanted to do journalism, and my father's friend came and told my father that, journalist क्यों बना रहे हो, उसका career खत्म हो जाएगा, and, gutter में है journalist. These are the words used. And exactly the same things happened. I want to know that, but my parents were supportive. They understood it. They didn't know. They didn't have a clue about the surroundings and what will happen, but they supported me. How did you convince them?
So I told my parents that I'm doing a startup. I didn't tell them I was doing YouTube. And I told them that I'm just marketing it on YouTube. Like I'm making videos so that my startup gets better marketing. But I didn't tell them my eventual plans, which were to become a YouTuber, which were to do exactly the things I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of lie to them about things for 2 years to get my way around it. But I'm glad that I did.
What were your first thoughts? When did you get introduced to the idea of becoming a content creator on the web?
I used to watch a lot of content in college, lots of American fitness channels, European fitness channels, and I always thought कि यार India में किसी को करना चाहिए ये सब. Like that was always my thought.
Yeah.
I never thought that I'll be the guy who like do it in the Indian way. But that was the honest thought when I started out that chalo let's do it in the Indian way because no one's doing it. So I'll be the first person. So that was the only thought, and I'm glad I took that call.
Beer Biceps नाम कहाँ से आया? मतलब how did you chance upon this whole name, username?
I think the person I was at that time, I used to work out a lot and I used to drink a lot. And honestly, the idea was like just explain to people that you can stay fit but also party really hard and then balance the two versions of your life. And then over time, now I've stopped drinking. I'm not as much into bodybuilding anymore. I'm much more into yoga, Ayurveda, but I can't call myself like, Tulsi triceps or something. Like I had to stick with like Beer Biceps because it just became a brand name.
Absolutely. But I want to know that in the beginning of your, like when you were a kid, when you were in your teenage years, did you face a lot of bullying? And because, when you created that channel, Beer Biceps, and you were giving fitness tips, it wasn't setting out unrealistic body standards or body types for people, which is why I think people connected with you. Was there any point where you had to face those unrealistic body shaming or demands in life?
Yeah. So I grew up obese, which had its own story. Like a lot of people grew up fat shaming me, all that. That's fine. That's one aspect of it. So that kind of motivated me to actually get into shape, continuously strive to get fitter all the time. So I kind of look at the fat shaming phase as good. I don't look at that negatively, but when I started actually gymming, powerlifting, bodybuilding, most Indian gyms have a lot of body shaming as a part of their culture. Like you'll enter the gym and there'll be some big buff dude who'll come to you and say, hey, your bicep became so small. Hey, or like, your body's so gone only. Like it's like the first thing before they say hello to you, they'll say that.
True.
And I think if you go to the environment every day, you kind of inject all that into your reality. So those thoughts start coming into you. You also start judging other guys. So then even you start body shaming other people and all that. It's a very negative, toxic environment, which is why I also feel that coronavirus, it's definitely shut shop for many gyms in the country. But we're going to see a whole new wave of lifestyle-based fitness. Yoga is going to come back in a way. Home fitness is going to come in a big way. Even after the coronavirus situation is gone, I think we're going to see a big change in the world of fitness going forward now.
But I want to ask you, because you've been so honest enough to admit that when these kind of body shaming actually happen at the gym, you also tend to body shame people. Have you unintentionally done that and regretted it?
I probably did it with one or two of my clients when I was a trainer, but I didn't like being that person in the gym who would go up to others and say, you don't look good, because I knew how that felt. I think I was empathetic enough to understand that, okay, this doesn't feel nice, so don't do it to another human being. Fortunately, I think I was empathetic enough to just not do it to another person, but I did see my thought patterns changing. I would see myself judging other people, which I also didn't enjoy. I was like, why should I care if this guy has, gotten a paunch on his belly or whatever, he's become a bit chubbier than he was. Like, that's not my problem. So I didn't even like the fact that I was subconsciously judging people.
When you became such a big brand, when you established yourself like that as a content creator, did you see people's perception around you change? People who never believed in you in the beginning, maybe, or tried to tell you that no, don't do it. Did you see the perception change in them?
Yeah, 100%. Also, you kind of tend, like most content creators who go through a situation like that tend to become arrogant, and that happened to me as well. Where I was like, you didn't back me when I was like very little. Now I'm at like 50,000 subscribers, which isn't big, but it feels way bigger than 0 subscribers. So you definitely have a sense of arrogance also, which the people around you have to bring down. I remember my boys brought it down. They're like, no, listen, don't say these things, don't think these things. My boys really helped ground me in that phase, but at the same time, you definitely see a lot of jealousy, especially in the fitness domain. I think fitness is one of those industries that's fueled by a lot of jealousy and comparison and competition. So I remember the gym I used to go to, I actually got thrown out of that gym because the trainers went and told the owner that this guy is learning from us, and I wasn't learning from them. I had already studied at another academy. They said this guy's learning from us, putting the stuff on YouTube, and therefore stealing all our clients, which was it didn't make sense. So I got thrown out of my gym. Things like that also happened. But I think everything just leads you to like better futures, man. So if people are pushing you away, you're not meant to keep them in your circles. That's what I feel.
When did you realize and discover the talk show host in you?
I
It's
honestly,
very different,
actually,
from being a web content creator who's talking about fitness to being a talk show host. It's a very different kind of transition, but you managed both of them beautifully, I must admit. So when did you realize that?
I've only believed in reinvention at every stage of my career, like that you have to reinvent yourself. So I don't think it was a conscious thing to become a talk show host. I knew that I have an ability to have good conversation with people because I had a lot of interesting friends. I'd grown up with a lot of interesting friends. So I knew how to hold a conversation. That's all.
True.
And I'm sure that this isn't my last transition. I'm going to do what I'm doing for at least another 20, 30 years. And there's going to be a lot more transitions. I may not be a podcast host forever. So let's see.
But you are amazing at what you do. I must say that. When we are talking about content creation on the web, do you remember your first video? How many views did it get? Were you anxious about seeing ki kisne kya comment kiya? Because that happens to a lot of people. It happened to me also when I did my first video for Pink Villa.
I think definitely in the first week or so, I was very like kind of aware. Plus, I enjoyed the attention. I'm not gonna lie. And there was no one doing fitness for Indians back then. So my videos crossed 1,000 views, 2,000 views very easily. Like the first few videos itself had crossed because I'd done the search engine stuff very well. So I really enjoyed the attention. I wasn't very conscious. I think I started getting conscious about 2-3 months into the process when your first initial hate comments start coming in. That's the only time haters are like ever affected me. It's probably affected me 1 or 2 times after that where something has gone viral, and virality always brings its own stream of hate. But those were one of the very few times that I felt hate affect me when it had just started coming in.
Do you remember what they had said?
It was again when you create fitness content, the whole fitness community in India is very aggressive, like inherently very aggressive people. So you'll always find people who love you aggressively and who hate you aggressively. So the hate you aggressively kind of people will just diss you for anything. Like I remember being in great shape back then, but would they still come and body shame you? So that makes you second guess yourself also that, okay, there's so many people body shaming me, but is there something wrong with me? But then eventually you realize the nature of online hate and you're fine with it.
Thank you for this lovely conversation, and we are going to do something really cool super soon together. God willing, very, very, very soon. And keep up the good work, because you definitely end up inspiring a lot of people, including me.
Thank you, brother. God bless you. Lots of love, man. Thanks.
Thank you.